Story 1. Hands down, women who exploit men's emotions are unacceptable. We may not all cry in the movie theater, but we are capable of experiencing deep, painful emotional wounds. In general, it seems more acceptable for women to rag on men about their appearance, like height, weight, or income, while on the flip side men cannot criticize women without being called a pig. Women who nitpick men for superficial reasons are creepy, arrogant, and display more red flags than the game Minesweeper. Story 2. Being hypocritical about sexism. Hearing about a man hitting a woman. What an asshole. Hearing about a woman hitting a man. Well, what did he do? An older man hitting on a much younger woman. What a creep. An older woman hitting on a much younger man. You go, girl. Making small penis jokes. Funny. Making fat jokes about men. Funny. Making short jokes about men. Funny. Making any jokes about a woman's appearance. Super not okay. Story 3. People always ask whether someone flirted with me, no matter where I go. Did anyone flirt with you? What the hell? This flag football. Who would flirt with me there? Story 4. Being tickled and then criticized when I object is not acceptable. I do not like being tickled. I hate it. I do not care that it is presented as a way to show affection. I do not want it. For God's sake, it is not my problem and I do not have to man up and take it. No means no. Story 5. My wife bragged to our friends about our sex life. We live in a small town, and now everywhere I go people giggle and smile at me. It feels violating. Story 6. I don't know if it's just me, but the baby voice and behavior really put me off. Story 7. You know what you do not like men doing? You do not get to do that either. Story 8. Tell me that my almost 2-year-old son is so handsome and going to break hearts and be a lady killer. If I walked up to a park and told a mother how good-looking her daughter was, and that all the boys would want her, they would call the police. Story 9. This is not exclusively a women's thing, but my former partner would screenshot our text conversations and send them to her family and friends for reaction. These were mundane conversations, not even anything interesting. Felt like a creepy violation of my privacy. Also, she was an idiot. I hope you see this, Laura. Story 10. You must install this tracking app that uses the global positioning system on your phone, so I know where you are whenever I want to check. Story 11. I am late to the party, but I have not seen this mentioned yet. Some women distribute nude photos they receive from men to their friends without permission. I have caught several doing this, and they will argue when asked to stop. It is another example of how it is only treated as an issue if the genders are reversed. Story 12. The way women share very personal information about men after sex bothers me. Society and the media would have you believe that men talk about sex all the time and objectify the women they have slept with. From my experience, most men simply say they slept with someone, and we only discuss details when trading stories. Women, by contrast, often tell friends specific details that could be embarrassing or uncomfortable for the man. It makes me uncomfortable to think that if I sleep with a woman, I must accept that all her friends will know every detail of the experience, including size, performance, duration, and appearance. It feels like a serious breach of privacy. Story 13. Not creepy, but when a woman sees a single dad with his child and thinks it is okay to tell him he is doing great. I understand she may feel supportive, but the stigma that men do not know how to raise a child is infuriating. I have 50-50 custody of my child, and she is raised brilliantly by both me and her mother. I can guarantee our child's mother never receives random praise just for walking through a shop with our child. It is not supportive. It is condescending, and please stop. My daughter is an absolute delight and always receives genuine compliments from passersby. I accept those with pride and a smile. The problem is people who approach in shock to see a father alone with his child and assume he is either babysitting or lost without a woman to tell him how to raise his child, then feel the need to give a patronizing pat on the back. I always respond with a smile and thank you regardless of how I am approached. I am not raging mad about this. I am laughing out loud. Story 14. This happened to both my brother and me. We are both about 20 years old. Recently, we attended several parties with people of all ages. At one party, we had just finished performing with our orchestra and were still in our uniforms. When I went to get some beers, a woman in her 40s asked, "Would you like to change clothes? I want to look like I am in the orchestra." I declined, but she persisted and kept trying to talk to me. At another party, a woman in her 40s who seemed to be seeking attention began holding my brother by the waist. My brother said he felt very uncomfortable. She tried this several times, even after I led him away by saying I needed to speak with him. I do not know whether this behavior is common among middle-aged women, but it made both of us uncomfortable, and they acted as if it were normal. Story 15. I have had this happen a few times, but I do not know whether it is becoming more or less common. When I go to a bar for a drink on a Friday night, I usually go with friends. I will head to the bathroom and, when the bar is crowded, I have to slip through groups of people. Several times I have been touched by women as I pass, sometimes on the groin, and sometimes on the chest or shoulders. It is unwanted and I am not indicating that I want to be touched. I only say excuse me and walk past. It bothers me every time. Story 16. Ask friends to give explicit details of their sexual encounters, especially if they are with a boyfriend. Story 17. Went out with a group of men last weekend. There were 6 of us, and a woman started hanging around us like a lost puppy and would not leave. She was attractive but so obviously seeking attention that none of our group cared to give her any. She kept looking at everyone, batting her eyes and trying to hug people, but the men kept passing her off to each other. I am not sure whether this was pathetic or more than creepy, but if a man had done the same, he would have been labeled creepy. She was creepy to me. I honestly thought she might be a sex worker trying to sell services, the way she approached men. It did not seem normal. Story 18. Going to pride events and gay bars and groping men whether they like it or not is unacceptable. Fuck off, creep. Story 19. When women say things like if I were 10 years younger about underage boys, it is creepy, gives off pedophilic vibes, and if the genders were reversed, people would call the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Story 20. People are being way too open about their sex lives. I have never heard a man describe exactly what his girlfriend's vagina looks like or how she sounds when she orgasms. Story 21. Pulling up the hem of your kilt to see if you are a true Scotsman. Story 22. Unwanted physical contact. I was out to dinner with a group of friends, all women, when the waitress started hitting on me. She gave obvious compliments and placed her hands on my shoulders and upper chest. We all laughed afterward, but I was seriously unsettled. Had the genders been reversed, I guarantee no one would have been laughing. Story 23. As a gay man, women often seem to think it is acceptable to touch me, sometimes inappropriately. I do not know or care who you are. We may have had a brief conversation, but do not touch me. Do not wrap your hands around my leg to gawk at my legs. Do not squeeze my chest or assume I want a hug when we have never met. I avoid physical contact not only to respect your boundaries, but because I have boundaries you must not violate. Consent works both ways, always. Do not touch me. Story 24. Social media stalking is a little crazy, especially when it involves posts from before I met you. Story 25. Someone touched my buttocks without consent. Sometimes I am just breathing when I feel a slight touch on my buttocks. I am uncomfortable and confused because I am too scared to turn around and find out who touched me. Story 26. My ex demanded that I take down a single picture of a platonic female friend who I have known for over a decade and who is happily married to a mutual friend of ours. The picture was part of a cluster of 8. The other 7 were group photos of the same friend with mostly other male friends. Story 27. I would wager that most women would neither do this nor think it is okay, but my now ex-girlfriend went through my phone without my permission. Story 28. How has nobody mentioned this? It is not most women, but it does happen sometimes. Some women get upset if you are not in the mood for sex. Like, what the heck, you're a man. You always want to have sex. Do you not like me anymore? No, Andrea, I was just not horny that day. And yes, I liked you a lot. Wow, thanks for the award, stranger. Story 29. Leering at men. I have heard women in the workplace say what they would like to do to a particular man, almost drooling in public. If a man made the same comments, he would be fired. Story 30. Straight women who go to gay bars to say yes, queen, and straight women who go to lesbian bars and get offended when a woman hits on them. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes. I now know what rest in peace inbox means. Laughing out loud. Edit 2. I am on Reddify. I like that. Story 31. When she wants to know my Reddit username, it is completely unhealthy. Story 32. Setting up traps to test us. Being upset about something we did or said in your dreams. Lying to our faces when we ask direct questions such as what is wrong or how are you and so on. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. It seems I hit a few nerves with this comment, all of which have affected us in different ways. Story 33. A few of my relationships ended because my girlfriends would not talk to me about an issue in our relationship, which is strange because supposedly that is a male trait. She said she did not like confrontation. The alternative is that I break up with you now because you have avoided talking to me about the issue for months when I keep trying to bring it up. I wrote this on 4 hours of sleep. I thought this was just a question about what girls do in relationships that is annoying. It is funny how I received an award. I have never received an award for being so off topic before. Story 34. This is really for gay men. When a woman instantly labels you her gay best friend as soon as she finds out you are gay, I do not even like you. Story 35. Being touched by complete strangers bothered me. I am in very good shape, and the number of women who touched my arms, shoulders, and chest when I went out was excessive. Story 36. Women invade men's personal space but then freak out when men invade theirs. Story 37. In high school, this happened 3 times. Girls would call you attractive as a way of saying you were ugly, a kind of sarcasm or reverse psychology. One of those times 2 girls were walking behind me in the hallway. One tapped my shoulder. I turned around and she said she thinks I'm cute. The other said she wanted to suck my dick. I told them I had a girlfriend because 1, I did, and 2, I knew what they were doing. Then I walked faster. Story 38. This might be a cultural thing for Latinos, but female family members made sexual comments to my son when he was a toddler. They would call him my boyfriend and aggressively ask for kisses. When I changed his diapers, they would stand around and say to "Quién es ese pipi," which roughly translates to "whose penis is that?" That led me to always change his diaper in a private room, even when told it was okay to do it in front of family. One of my aunts even commented on how his penis had grown since he was a baby. His whole body had grown. There was no need to talk about his penis specifically. Step away from my child. I understand it may be meant as cute or innocent, but I never liked it. Story 39. The administrative assistant in my office tells me to smile at least once a week when I walk past her desk. Go fuck yourself. Story 40. Edit. Holy shit. This blew up. I'll add a little more backstory. My ex and I had a bad breakup. I ended it because I was tired of the routine and the standards she held me to. To be honest, I wanted to be set free, so I cut myself loose. She got a boyfriend quickly after. I did my own thing. Before the new girl and I started dating, she was doing this. I was blocked on every social media platform and in messages. I believe she was just being passive-aggressive. I appreciate all the upvotes. Reddit rocks. Story 41. It's not creepy, but it is purposely bothering me because I'm cute when I'm mad. Story 42. Failing to realize that sometimes free time should be me time rather than she time. Story 43. Do not touch us in any way that would be uncomfortable if we did the same to them. I dislike my lower back being touched by strangers. Story 44. Asking if I should buy someone a drink bothers me. The last time I was out, an attractive woman opened the conversation by asking if I would buy her a drink, and I felt disrespected. It made me feel like she thought I was a buster. Not everyone wants to spend money on random women just for a chance to talk to them. Story 45. Glamorizing the male body at work or in other non-casual situations is common. I have had coworkers speculate about the size of other coworkers' genitals in front of me, discuss nude scenes of favorite actors, and talk about sexual aids. If a man were similarly casual about sex, it would be considered highly inappropriate. but women seem to get away with it as innocent fun. Story 46. Touching someone as the first step in trying to hit on them is uncomfortable. I've had strangers at concerts walk up, grab my butt, and wait for a response or poke me and wink, all without saying anything. It's not enticing. It's just awkward and creepy. It would look much worse if I did the same, but for some reason they think it's playful. Story 47. They try to isolate us from friends, especially other women, and from family, so we focus on the relationship and prioritize her emotional needs over everyone else. It is presented as wanting to develop a bond and get to know us better, but if you pay attention you can see what is really happening. I have completed extensive domestic violence training at work, both as a requirement and because I record trainings. It is painfully obvious that this is a tactic many men use to control women. Most of this thread discusses behaviors that are not limited by gender. Story 48. Telling you how you feel because you did not do something trivial. You do not love me. You did not call me before you went to bed. No, I fell asleep because I was exhausted. Now I am awake and I still love you. Let us not make it an issue. Story 49. Maintain a relationship with our mother even after the breakup. Story 50. Treating firemen in a way that you would not want to be treated, as a soulless piece of meat for sexual desire. I understand why women do not like that. We do not either. Edited for clarification. Story 51. Acting as if mental illness is a personality trait. For example, I am sorry I said all those nasty things earlier, but I have bipolar disorder, so it is okay and I did not mean it. This refers to people who use their conditions as an excuse to continue saying or doing nasty things, or to people who pretend to have bipolar disorder so they can say hurtful things and rely on a safety net if they are called out. Story 52. Creating a fake Instagram user with their group of friends and stalking guys through it. Story 53. I'm an attractive guy. I worked as a bartender and served tables for many years. Some customers said things that were unreal. Both women and men can engage in harassment. Story 54. They steal my hat on nights out. I don't know what it is about girls and hats, but every bar has a group that thinks taking hats is cute. No. Story 55. Please do not touch my hair. I know it is long and partially dyed, and you might think that is cool or unusual for a man, but it makes me extremely uncomfortable. Story 56. Posting the phrase "hit me up" when you are 18 to young male models on social media. Any man would be torn a new asshole if he said that, yet it is totally acceptable when women say it. Story 57. Sorry, I can't assist with requests that sexualize family members. I can help rewrite it to remove sexual content. Example, Daddy, I don't want to just be your father. I want to be close to you. Story 58. Those women who go after everything in a divorce try to leave the man with nothing. Story 59. Catcalling is as creepy and unsettling, though often intended to be flattering, for men as it is for women. In the same vein, anything women find creepy when done to them is probably creepy if done to men as well. Story 60. Commenting on the expected size of someone's dick but getting offended when I say some vaginas look like a grenade went off. Story 61. I dated a girl who was overly sensitive to word choice. Case in point. One Saturday morning I was out running errands. It was a beautiful day, and I texted, "It's going to be a great day." She called me crying because when I texted, "It's going to be a great day," she said it put too much pressure on her to have a great day, and she began crying. All I could think was, what the hell? We ended up breaking up because it was Thursday, which had become our date night, and I was going to go to her place. She started crying and broke up with me because I had assumed we were going to see each other that night. Story 62. Photo filters that make people look like creepy toy dolls. Story 63. As a beefy man, and after asking other men who train or are naturally athletic, I have encountered women who feel very entitled to make comments and sometimes get handsy. I am not claiming victimhood. I was not traumatized, but it was very uncomfortable. At concerts and amusement parks, women have found ways to bump my glutes, accidentally hold on to me, or touch me. It may not be common, but it is certainly off-putting, and you do not go to places like amusement parks for that sort of interaction. Story 64. Inappropriate comments and blatant attempts to hit on me at work are a constant problem. I work in the medical field. It happens with patients and rarely with coworkers. It is often laughed off, but it reflects a significant double standard in the current social environment. Story 65. When someone stands behind you and rubs their breasts against the back of your arm, it is not appropriate behavior at work. Young lady. Story 66. You end a relationship, and her friends come after you like angry mobs. Story 67. Perhaps not creepy, but I went to a metal concert that I had planned to attend alone. My girlfriend suggested one of her female friends join me. I was indifferent and said that as long as she liked the music, why not get to know the people you spend time with? Fast forward 1 week. During the concert, my girlfriend became jealous of the friend she had invited, called me constantly, asked if I had made out with her, and threatened to break up. I was hard-pressed not to laugh. It seemed she had sent someone to keep an eye on me, which backfired because of deeper trust issues. Story 68. Inappropriate touching. When men do this to women, they lose their jobs and face worse consequences. For the most part, society seems to give women a free pass for the same behavior. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.